What's good, YouTube? I'm Robert with the Crosscut Creations channel. Today we are going to turn this insane pen blank from Todd over at TLF Works. This is a collaboration video, so if you want to see how he made this pen blank, go ahead and check that video out. I'll leave a card at the top of the video here, but then come back and see how we turn this pen. Let's get turning. I drill out the pen blank on my lathe with my pen jaws and my Nova chuck. This blank is drilled at approximately 400 RPMs, that way the heat doesn't build up too much. After I drill out the blank, I mark for the pen tube, and I'm trying to line this up as best as I can to have an even reveal on both the top and the bottom. Then I mix up some epoxy, and I also go ahead and I scratch the tube with some sandpaper. You can see here in just a second that there are some nice scratches on the tube that gives the epoxy something to grab onto. Then I go ahead and coat the tube with epoxy, and I go ahead and insert the tube into the pen blank. While I'm inserting the tube into the pen blank, I am twisting the tube to make sure that the epoxy covers the tube and the blank nicely, and I take my time here to scrape off any excess epoxy so I don't get any epoxy in the tube and potentially mess that up. So off camera here, I go ahead and push the tube into the blank. Again, I'm trying to center the tube as best as I can to the pen blank. And then I just wipe off any excess epoxy. After I wipe off the excess epoxy, I go ahead and square the blank to the tube, and that way that prepares it for turning. Turning went pretty straightforward. I'm using a radiused square negative rake carbide cutter, and with this being a walnut resin hybrid blank, it did the job amazingly, and turning was pretty straightforward. I turned down to the bushing and then continued on. After turning, I sanded down the blank from 120 to 400. And while we're sanding, I want to thank my top tier patron, Angie. After we sand the blank, we hit the blank with some denatured alcohol just to get any dust debris off, and then we let that dry, and then after that dries, I go ahead and CA finish. When I CA finish, I use 7 coats of Mercury Flex Thin, and I hit it with activator in between each application. I could then go ahead and micro mesh from 1500 to 12,000, and then polish with the Novus 1, 2, and 3. This is one that you're seeing. Off camera, I went ahead and did 2 and 3, and this really gave this pen blank a really good shine. We have just a little bit of cleanup to do here. And once this gets cleaned up, you'll see just how much this pen blank pops. People ask me all the time, why don't I explain assembly? Well, here is an explanation of an assembly for this pen. Here I'm taking a flat surface and putting some sandpaper on it. And I'm rubbing the blank against the sandpaper. This is to clean off any raised edges on the pen blank, to square it up. The first thing I'm going to do in the assembly is to press the coupler into the blank. This is where the nib is going to get screwed into the front end of the pen. So I take my time and I line up the pen blank. You want to make sure you line up your pen blank and press as straight as you can. If you don't press straight, you run the risk of elongating that hole and making it oblong, and you could crack the blank. The component might not fit right. So you just want to take your time to make sure that it's right. Next, I press the clip end into the pen. I make sure that I have the clip where I want it, and then after some careful consideration, I go ahead and push that clip end into the pen blank. After I push that clip end in, that's it for the main assembly. The rest is just putting things into place and threading the other components onto the pen blank, or the pen rather. I take the tip off of the ink and I insert the spring, insert the ink into the body of the pen, and then I thread on the nib section of the pen. After I thread on the nib section, I thread on the click mechanism, whatever you want to call it. After I get that going, it is flawless and it works really, really well. This is the Vertex click, and I couldn't be more excited about how this one turned out. As always, thanks for hanging out with me on this one. Here's the completed pen one more time. This was a really fun turn. I really think Todd did an amazing job on the blank. This walnut and Alumilite segmented blank is just crazy insane. Pictures don't do it justice. This is the first time I've assembled a Vertex click. I absolutely love this kit. It looks awesome. I can't wait to get some good use out of it. As always, thanks for hanging out with us. Remember, if you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get the notifications so you don't miss any videos, and we'll see you next time.